Howdy, 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 Randomania. It is a lovely Saturday afternoon here for Final Fantasy Randomizer's Double Anti-Bingo Tournament, and me and Jet have the comp today, isn't that right, Jet?
Absolutely. This is it's a great day for Final Fantasy Randomizer, and we got two good runners going at it with almost identical parties here.
And probably identical routing plans.
Mm-hmm. So what are we doing tonight? What are we doing this afternoon, Woat?
Oh, we're doing Double Anti-Bingo. So for the folks at home who don't know what Double Anti-Bingo is, so a bingo, first of all, is a style of doing a game where instead of just trying to beat the game as quick as possible, you're given a set of objectives. And like in the traditional game bingo, you have to complete a line of objectives. In the case of Double Anti-Bingo, you have to complete 2 lines of objectives. The twist, though, is that your opponent gets to choose one of those lines, and you have to do it. So, for tonight, Darkmoon and SirLinkalot have both chosen to do the top left to bottom right diagonal, also known as, "Hi, I really want to annoy you." The line.
Oh yeah. 2 white mages, always a little bit annoying. They don't have a lot of offensive capability, which can slow your seed down unless we get early fade. So that's definitely something to take a look for as the seed kicks off.
Yeah, we will not have access to exit, though. That is forced. We will not be able to use caster items. That's going to be annoying if we have anything punchy, because goodbye white shirt and defense sword.
Mm-hmm.
We've got to hunt down the Maza, the Chime, and the Cube, because that Maza is getting thrown out the space window in Sky Fortress. And we gotta do some canoeing, but that's fine. As of right now, it looks like both runners are pretty dead set on doing row 2, by which I mean they just have to go to Earth Cave.
Yeah, they don't even need the rod to talk to 10 bats. So yeah, row 2 is going to be incredibly easy. And it looks like the runners are pretty much ready to go, so we're going to be kicking things off right on time here. Yeah, so a couple other notes. They do have free orbs as well, as our tracker for tonight, Shadowed, is pointing out. So 4 free orbs, which means the only things these runners are going to need in order to win are the key and the loot as well, once they, of course, complete their 2 free rows. So for this particular chosen row, likely they're going to need the key, the loot, the canoe, probably the ship or the airship, and then the masa, the cube, and the chime. So a number of key items required, but like no oxyl needed, no rod needed. They definitely aren't going to need to promote. So, definitely a number of items they can skip.
Yeah, which of course means that that loot is going to be buried behind half the fetch quests in the game. But we are off. Darkmoon immediately finding out what those white mages get, and I saw Fog 2. Ooh, Lock 2 for black magic. That is an immediate pickup. Jat, did I lose you?
No. I'm just chilling out. No.
Okay.
Yeah, Lock 2 is going to be, of course, helpful in the late game, as it decreases the evasion of all the enemies on the screen. However, not really something that they're going to need in the early game. A current lack of early damaging magic. Harm 3, definitely a good way to get a few levels if you, find a zombie pack or something like that. But they're definitely going to be looking for a more premier level sweeper, so like a level 3 elemental sweeper or nuke, or ideally fade.
See, I would argue that Lock 2 is also useful in the early game. Once you've got a few levels under your belt and theoretically can hit twice or 3 times, but can't actually connect with anything, Lock 2 comes in handy sometimes.
Definitely true. Wooden staff pickups by SirLinkalot. I'm anticipating some imp punching. Yep, and here we go. 3 wooden staffs, 1 cast a lit 2. Darkmoon's like, where's my boat? And is probably going to go punch some imps as well. Yeah, this is going to take a little bit longer for Darkmoon because he doesn't have those weapons.
That's a really early imp encounter, and yeah, Darkmoon's just skipping out on it. I think he's going to go ahead and feel out where this encounter table lives, and yeah, you got that fast encounter right off of right off a power cycle, and then it looks like you get a healthy run, not a super long run, but a healthy run.
Yeah, more than enough to be worth encounter manipulating 2, though. So you're going to be seeing lots of hearts reset, burn one encounter, and then go for a little bit of a hike afterwards. So SirLinkalot picking up his critical level 2 has to buy Pures because his whole party got poisoned. Luckily guaranteed to be in Canaria.
You know, I think this is the first bingo I've commentated that didn't have See a Poison skill as one of the tiles.
Actually, that's another small benefit to like punching imps in the early game. It's going to take a while, so you're likely to see their scripts or spells if they have any. And something like See a Fire Elemental skill. Sure, maybe you don't want to see them blaze you, but hey, you get to mark up board off the bingo board.
Yeah. Neutral Pro Ring here in Temple of Fiends, that's actually really nice for defense and resistance.
Yes, so it provides resistance to the death element, which is a large number of the insta-deaths in this game. Also best in slot just in terms of raw absorb, or defense as it's called in all modern games.
Yeah, you can toss it on, but our restreamer is pointing out, white mages as a Malice cannot equip Pro Rings, but that's fine. I imagine that both of these runners are probably just going to murder their white mages for the most part, and run with 2-man strats. Both of these runners experienced enough. I think they can just do 2 characters and be fine.
Yeah, the 2-man strats definitely could. Oh yeah, look at SirLinkalot doing it right off the bat. 2 white mages to the front. 2-man strats may be incoming. Specifically though, I think they may get one more shot. If Elfland has Fade, the white mages may get to live a little while longer.
Yeah. Also, I just noticed, so our tracker for today went ahead and noted our blurses for our classes. That's a nasty curse or malice on the black mage.
Yes, -4 max MP with level 2 nuke. Not ideal. Now it is max, which means they're still going to get up to 6. It's not like you have to wait until you would normally have 5 spells charges before you get your first, but still not ideal, and definitely decreases the odds of them being able to like nuke their way through Temple of Fiends Revisited. I think in this case though, it's black belt all the ways anyways.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with SirLinkalot's choice to go with the red mage looking these over, because unless you absolutely want to guarantee your access to like fast if it rolls into a high spot, you probably just want to go ahead and go for it. But our black belts do have plus 15% hit rate, which generally is not going to affect, I believe... Well, I think it does. I believe it does affect their... So, this is a conversation going on in our notes at the moment as to whether or not that plus 15 hit % on black belts affects their hit rate. And I think it does. Like, I don't think that the black belt's hit rate has its own formula the way that everything else does. They just double up.
Oh, okay. So then we are going to be seeing black belts become more powerful. So the breakpoint that they're looking for is 37 instead of 42, which is definitely significantly earlier. It's a nice pickup. Now, of course, with both runners having identical parties, it's not going to be, as much as if, one person took a fighter and one person took a black belt, but stay tuned.
It might make a difference if one of them realizes what's going on. Of course, what I'm really interested in seeing is if SirLinkalot finds if Darkmoon finds a very powerful dagger and just hands it to his black mage.
Yeah, with all that bonus 30 plus 30 bonus strength, the black mage is going to be hitting harder than than a vanilla fighter for quite a while actually. Gregleypup pointing on the chat to tavern those worthless white mages out, and what he means by that is we are playing with tavern mode. So where you normally can revive a character, in this flag set you can also recruit a new one over top of an existing character. So for example, take 2 white mages means you must start the seed with 2 white mages and you must end the seed with 2 white mages, but during the seed there's nothing stopping you from saying, hey, I would much rather have a thief who can cast nuke, for example.
Yeah. I think it just comes down to whether or not you find those you find a tavern that has a class you want to take early on. That being said, the white mage, we have Oxiel out of the Elf Prince, so on-rack on the table as an option for places to go, and there is that level 3 fade. And
Yeah,
life.
Those white
And-
mages are almost certainly sticking around.
Was that wall as well? I think I saw wall as well.
Yep.
Let's check the
Fade,
notes.
wall, and life, all level 3, and Brack notable at level 3 for black magic.
Yeah. And we're also seeing life 2 and heal 3 at level 4 black magic, white magic, I think.
Yeah, so white magic actually pretty stacked. There's cure 4 level 2, fade, wall, and life level 3, and life 2, heal 3 level 4. So those white mages, they basically need no more spells for the rest of the game. The one spell you would normally care about, exit, is completely illegal in this seed.
Yeah. And you also have Fog 2, Harm 3, and Fear at level 1. Not what you would normally consider stacked on a white mage, but it's a nice set of utility spells to have available.
Mm-hmm. Definitely not useless by any stretch. Like, there's a lot more pure blanks for a white mage, like Vanilla Cure, which
Or
is
Lamp.
awful. Or Lamp.
Yeah. Like, Darkmoon keeping his white mages gaining experience will probably be very happy when he gets to Elfland.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
SirLinkalot, I think, did he go ahead and pick up at least one of his white mages?
Yes, he
Yeah, he
says
picked
has
up
them
both
both
of
up.
them.
Mhm.
Okay. So probably going to let one of them go down, and then the other one is the chosen one who will
Yes,
be casting magic the rest of the seed.
I agree with that. I think a 3-man comp here is going to be quite powerful. He's also deciding to get that canoe from Elfland to Ice Cave out of the way right away, which I think is a good play.
Yeah. It also gives you an opportunity to get some experience.
Ooh. You know when why you don't need a pro ring on a white mage?
Because that white mage has a ribbon now?
Yeah, for free in the dwarf in the free chest in Dwarf Cave. So that's
I
pretty
just
nice.
noticed that Darkmoon named one of his white mages after me.
Oh. Evidently you're a white mage of all the party comp.
Well, he didn't bring a red mage, so...
Yeah, so exactly as you said, SirLinkalot's deciding to go with the 3-person comp. I think this makes a lot of sense. The red mage and the white mage are both incredibly powerful. The black belt needs as much experience as he can get. And of course, there's still likely going to be a solo grind for that black belt, but it's still nice to start at like level 20, instead of starting at level 12 with 4 party members up.
Yeah. So, other things of note while our runners are kind of getting their early things out of the way. We do also have Lit 3 available at level 3 black magic. That's also going to be handy for that black mage with that minus 4 MP malice in place.
Mm-hmm.
So that basically just gives him 2 powerful sweeper spells that he can alternate between and extend his like combat capabilities a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Lit 3 is my favorite of the elemental sweepers. Lots of things are weak to it, and when they're weak to it, it's very obvious that they're weak to it, and not many things resist it, so it's a good combination, as well as having the second, it's the second highest damage of the 3. Speaking of when Lit 3 is good, Squint not so good.
Well, that ribbon came into play!
Mm-hmm.
Does he have any spell levels to revive his party with, is the question. No, he doesn't have a life.
He barely had enough money to buy Fade, never mind to buy life, so he has no spell charges and no levels, but he is going to still try and get out of here, which, there's a possibility. The encounter rate is not that high.
Yeah.
Ooh, whoa, that's scary. Yep.
And... yeah. It was worth a shot to see what's there.
I was actually thinking that this was a little bit of an ambitious Ice Cave play. Not that it was impossible by any stretch, but like he's level 8, that's quite low, and Ice Cave makes sense for a number of reasons. A canoe from Elfland to Ice Cave is good, and alongside that, there's also a large number of trap tiles to check, so like going to Ice Cave early makes sense, but that was risky, and SirLinkalot correctly, I think, deciding to be like, nope, I can come back here later.
Yeah, level 8 is actually about the point where I am comfortable making an Ice Cave play, because you have enough HP to endure most of the stuff that you're likely to see in terms of like attack damage, and if you're worried about skills or spells, that's a problem anywhere you're going anyway. So
I think it's in particular because they can't use warp or exit, right? Like, so often when you're going to Ice Cave early, you're just warping or exiting out, and then it becomes so much safer. But now they're forced essentially to do the whole 2 times around, which is nasty.
Here's the thing you have to keep in mind, Jat. When I roll seeds for myself, I'm the one rolling the seed, and
Correct.
you know what kind of seeds I roll.
That's true. That's true.
So I never get warp or exit.
Looks like we have the quote-unquote jingle from the sages, and that of course is the loot, one of our 2 required items to win any bingo seed during this tournament. So that's a nice thing to pick up early. We were talking before the race about the possibility of the loot being buried deep, in sky, for example. But it'll be interesting. No problem. Talonheart, congratulations on making a bunch of money.
In Final Fantasy XIV.
Hey,
for the sake of the YouTube VOD.
It's Final Fantasy. We approve of Final Fantasy chat here.
I agree. I'm just saying, like, just in case anyone listens to it and is like, well, I gotta track this Talonheart person down and mug him.
Ah, yes.
Talonheart, as far as we know, does not have a great amount of wealth in real life.
Mm-hmm.
Anywho, so Darkmoon is now trying his luck in the Ice Cave, and I almost think he may be in a better position to at least peek the chest than SirLinkalot, just because having that extra party member increases his chances of getting the turn order he needs.
Yes, I agree. If he can get through the sharks, the Gershark Arsaheg tile, then I think we can reevaluate. But like, it's very likely that tile's just death.
Yeah. But like I said, it's a situation. It's a situation where you got 4 party members, 3 of whom can clear that tile in 1 shot.
Mm-hmm.
I like the chances.
Mm-hmm. So SirLinkalot deciding not to take any additional levels outside of Crescent Lake, going straight into Volcano. This makes sense. I think if he has a house or something, he can easily take some levels on the first floor here, and then dive deeper, but he might just go straight down to the R-Dragon chest. I know SirLinkalot does like to play quite aggressively, so we'll have to see if this kind of more risky dives pay off or not.
Well, the other nice thing about Volcano, with this encounter table we've seen, he can check a lot of chests and only get into a couple of fights.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of a grind tile, these zombie Ds very well could be what you're looking for. So yeah, definitely coming here to check some grinds, which I think is good. Zombie Ds with under 300 HP, it looks like.
And that harm 3 I mentioned before, that'll come in handy on that tile.
Very, very good point.
So, yeah, definitely something that if you take notes, you're gonna want to write down.
Yep. Ooh, but he's going straight down. I guess the zombie. Now, the interesting thing about this is that he can't exit, which means he's gonna have to kill Carrie likely to get out of here. Also, Darkmoon on the terrifying tile.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, SirLinkalot could just walk this out.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I feel like he's going down. He's going to check the incentive chest, and Darkmoon gets through it, and is rewarded with a ship.
Ooh, that's big.
Yeah. So if this is not the floater for SirLinkalot, that's going to give Darkmoon an advantage if he can get it out.
Yeah. Darkmoon still needs to get through this tile, which is terrifying, and he gets the run. That's huge. With his party, that was not a guaranteed run by any stretch. The Black Mage was really the only one who had a chance to run there, and his chance to run was maybe 50-60%.
See, it's weird. I always find that white mages are my most effective runners. I don't know if it's just the RNG likes my white mages or what.
Yeah, I think that's the RNG liking your white mages, but they obviously had about a 20 to 30% chance to run there, so definitely not 0.
Yeah.
Oh, Darkmoon's so close. I think he's got to cast a spell here if he can. Yeah, okay, he has Nuke. That's awesome. Oh, he gets decent turn order too. Wow. This ice cave was very precarious. I think a couple dice rolls had to go Darkmoon's way alongside making good decisions with his spell charges. Like you can see, he's like at the very bottom of his spell charges remaining. But he got out, and that's huge, as SirLinkalot only finds one of the most useless items, the tail, for him.
Yeah, so... let's see. So, thinking over SirLinkalot, I think SirLinkalot's only option really is go back to Ice Cave after this. Which...
Yep.
yeah, and that Ice Cave is one of the few times where three-man strategy, doesn't necessarily pay off. Because, we saw Darkmoon was able to win that war of attrition and had enough actions to win turn order when he needed it.
I agree. Yeah, going in with 3-person there was huge. Now, I wonder if SirLinkalot... So SirLinkalot, I think, has 2 adjustments he can make. He can either go in with 4 people and bring his White Mage up, or he can go grind the zombie Ds until his party's, like, in the mid-teens. So,
yeah,
I think
we're going to see a grind.
Yeah, I think so, too.
Yeah, like, I think that's what you do in that situation if you're SirLinkalot, but that's time that Darkmoon is going to be getting to explore the world.
It's unlikely an early grind your opponent's going to completely, like, just net gain time. However, there is 10% per key item here, which is why the doing the grind earlier is a little bit more time consuming. But nope, SirLinkalot's just out. Oh, this ice cave's going to be incredibly dangerous for him.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just checking something real quick. So, we have, Talonheart in chat pointing out that Ice Cave, even in vanilla, is brutal just because of the sorcerers with their stunning abilities and death touch at their disposal. So, the fun thing about the flags we're using for this tournament, Talonheart, is that one of our flags is called Randomized Status Attacks, which basically says, okay, so, this many enemies out of the total enemy pool have, stun attacks. This many enemies have death touch. This many enemies have such and such. And just basically says, okay, well, any given enemy has, that % chance of rolling a status attack. And, of those status attacks, these are the odds that's going to be one of these. So, statistically, you should only see 1 death touch.
Statistically.
Statistically.
So SirLinkalot so he decided to go with the 4-man route. So he brought his White Mage back up and is going to go to Ice Cave with that person. Meanwhile, Darkmoon also finding this Zombie D tile. We're gonna have to see if Zombie D pitches a tent here, like, not the literal tent, but like just decides to camp here for a while and get some levels or not.
Well, with his black belt dead, I think he's at least leaving. Okay, so here is another thing that Linkalot could have considered doing. He's got a little bit more cash now, especially after, taking that fight with the Zombie Ds. He could have gone back to Elfland and gotten life.
Yes.
Like Darkmoon has.
Yeah.
And that would have increased his odds of pulling things out tremendously.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's a really long play, though. Like, I can see why he didn't want to do that, but definitely another option. This dive, I think, is still risky. I think this dive, how many tries it takes SirLinkalot to get out of Ice Cave here is make or break for this seed for him. So
yeah, see, that I think is the reason. Like, you are already at Crescent Lake. It's a bit of a pain, but you can go ahead. You can either take a couple of fights on the river to kind of bolster your defenses before making this trip, or you just do the quick manipulation. You take 3 minutes, and first of all, you don't have to remember to make that trip back to Elfland later, and you have those life casts now.
Yeah, Solario Rex saying, hey, now it's easy to forget spells. No, there's no, or I agree with that, but there's no way SirLinkalot has forgotten that Life 2's there. He just doesn't want to invest the time to go back to get it right now. He would rather get his ship first. Which makes sense, but...
Images with Toxic on the first floor.
Yeah, I still think SirLinkalot has like maybe a 50% chance of getting through this ice cave because he's got to get through the Gersharks twice. He's got to get through the Zombie D Whizvamps once. Never mind toxic ghosts or well, one of the undead packs.
So I think Darkmoon was just looking to get that black belt to 20-ish. Because he definitely got that black belt up into the. No, he's going back in for more.
Yeah, he needed spell charges, but
yeah,
this makes tons of sense. Yeah, so Darkmoon's gonna be in, if he finishes his black belt grind here, he's just gonna be like ready to go.
Yeah, honestly though, Linkalot really needs to finish this out on the next 2 attempts to make this dive, or he is not going to be in a good position relative to Darkmoon.
Yeah, Linkalot is an incredibly good player. Like, he's someone who I've raced against plenty of times, and like I really respect his skills and abilities. It's just he's in a really tough spot here because he pushed the seed a little bit more than Darkmoon at the very beginning, and this seed is punishing for that decision, which was not necessarily incorrect. It's just like sometimes there's going to be tough trap tiles.
Yeah, well, and that's kind of the double-edged sword of being a good runner, because Linkalot has the awareness that.
Ooh. Yes.
Yeah, he is fully capable of doing this ice cave. And so it's kind of that psychology there of, if I take the time to do the conservative play, I'm throwing away time because the next dip could be the one where I pull it out.
Right. He got a first turn run on the Gersharks, but then he got ambushed, but they all missed. Oh, that is incredibly good.
He's at least going to he's trying to decide if he wants to take this shot or not. Okay, he's taking the shot.
Oh, also good swings there. Okay, bad turn order that time, but he should get through this.
Yeah, well, yeah. Okay, his white mage that he was wanting levels on survives, barely, but he gets through that. So, now the tricky part. He's got to get out again.
One more tile. And also toxic images or something.
Well, I don't know if he's going to bump into any images on the way out.
Oh, he gets the run again. Wow.
All right. So
he's
just got to cross his fingers.
Wow, those are really, really, really good runs on that tile.
Yeah.
And his white mage goes down too. This is going to be perfect for him.
Yep. Not even stopping to check these chests. That is... he gets the same... He took almost the exact same route that Darkmoon took, step-wise. Because those are the 2 fights Darkmoon saw trying to get to the stairs. Alright, Darkmoon down on carry floor, going to find his tail that he doesn't care about.
And SirLinkalot out, so that's what we said needed to happen.
Yeah.
So these 2 runners in very, very similar situations now, right? Like SirLinkalot's already got in the tail, Darkmoon's already got in the ship. Very neck and neck.
Yeah. And being able to take that fight with the Whizvamps and the Zombie Ds definitely helped SirLinkalot, I think, kind of make up ground that Darkmoon was able to pick up while he was attempting Ice Cave.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think of SirLinkalot, as we said, like, he gets ambushed by the Gersharks Whizvamps, the Gersharks and, Sahags on the second go round, or gets, 2 of his characters insta-killed, then this could be very different, but he needed to get through on the first or second try, and he did there, which was huge.
Yeah. Well, first or second try from the point when we pointed it out. I think it was like his 4th or 5th try.
Ooh, I like this play by Darkmoon too. He just reset out with the tail. He's like, nope, don't need you. Bye.
Yeah, doesn't need that, and didn't really, and already did his grinding in Volcano, so he didn't need to walk the levels out either. So,
Ooh, I don't like this though. The ship, when it's in Ice Cave, spawns at Provoca, which I believe is where Darkmoon should be going right now. So I hope he's not going to Elfland.
I mean, he may be, yeah, he needs to go to Provoca. Anything he wants to do is faster with the ship.
Yes, exactly.
But I'm thinking he probably is thinking, okay, now I've got some cash, let's go fill out my spell book.
Unless he already got the ship? I don't remember him doing that though. Like, is he docked in the Inner Sea?
That's an
Oh, he
excellent
is.
question, and I don't know the answer to that.
No, he's not. No, he's just going to the wrong place, I think. Poor Darkmoon. A very classic. This is something that everyone does. They go to Elfland and like, where's my ship? Yep.
Oh, that moment of staring. You
So-
love to see it.
So the reason for that is if you think about the vanilla game, we are currently using a flag called Open Progression, which unlocks the path using the canal system from Ice Cave to Volcano. However, in the vanilla game, Ice Cave is connected to a river system that goes to Provoca, and Volcano is connected to the river system that goes to Crescent Lake and Elfland. So if you don't have that flag on and you're in Elf Cave, there's no guarantee that you can even get to Elfland. Therefore, the ship spawns in Provoca. Darkmoon checks the other docks. Checks the other dock too.
Yeah.
Darkmoon Provoca.
Well, okay, here's the thing, is, like, the only two times that ship is going to appear in Provoca is either you get it from the pirates, or you get it from Ice Cave.
Correct.
And it's not very often that you get it out of Ice Cave.
Also correct.
Because, yeah, let's see, if it's at Dwarves, it's just at the Dwarf Dock. If it's King or Princess, it's at Canaria. If it's Marsh Cave, Northwest Castle, or Elfland Castle, or Volcano, I think all of those go to Elfland Dock.
Or Crescent Lake too. That's the other tricky one. Crescent Lake also goes to Elfland Dock.
Yeah.
Because it has to spawn in the Inner Sea. Yeah.
Well, after multiple trials, Darkmoon has finally figured out where his boat is. Chat, remind us to make fun of him about that when he comes in for the post-game interview.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Darkmoon's gonna get. It's gonna be now known as the Darkmoon play, where you check all the docks. We say this in good fun, of course. Darkmoon is a good person with who we like to bug. So I hope Darkmoon, when he listens back to this, knows this is in. This is a loving poke.
If Darkmoon doesn't know that this is just us playing around about him, then quite frankly, we need to do something about the pod person who has murdered and replaced Darkmoon.
SirLinkalot has talked to his 10 bats in Earth Cave. So he is throwing the massa into space and a key away from go mode.
So, okay. So this is something that came up last night on commentary. And I know that Darkmoon is probably thinking about it because he was the restreamer for that seed. Being able to see... One of the things about Bingo, compared to a normal randomizer race, is the fact that you can see your opponent's progress with the program we use.
Yes.
And I feel like that's currently on Darkmoon's mind, at least, because he sees that SirLinkalot has that Earth Cave tile, and he knows SirLinkalot's gotten to Earth Cave.
Yeah,
He
basically...
possibly... Go ahead.
He basically knows that he is about a minute and a half behind. That's... Unless, he thinks his levels are slightly better, he knows he's essentially a minute and a half, an Earth Cave dive behind SirLinkalot.
Yeah, well, here's the thing to think about if you're Darkmoon. You don't know that SirLinkalot did all that, had all that trouble getting through Ice Cave. So you don't know that, like, where SirLinkalot's slightly ahead of you in progression, you're still a little bit ahead in levels.
That's true. Yeah, no, it's a very close race. To be honest, if I'm Darkmoon, Darkmoon knew coming into this he was a little bit of an underdog, or at least he felt that way, he told me. Which means that he's probably feeling pretty good, being like, oh, he's just an Earth Cave, and I'm in Earth Cave right now, too.
Yeah. I mean, it just comes down to, not being able to having to worry about what your opponent may or may not have done. Like, all you know if you're Darkmoon is, okay, so now we both have ship, he got to Earth Cave before I did.
Correct.
Which still tells him, you know, that time he spent trying to find his ship ceded a little bit of an advantage to Linkalot.
Correct, yes. And I do want to note that you must mark a tile when you have completed it. So there is no, you know, oh, I'm just going to mark all my tiles right before I kill Chaos. You have to mark tiles, not like, you know, not within a second, but, you know, best effort, you must mark tiles as soon as possible.
Yeah. Linkalot going back for that adamant after he wiped earlier.
Mm-hmm. No warp and exit is really annoying. Like, really, really annoying.
Yeah. Like, I can see... I understand why they went with row 2 in this scenario, at least. It's... It's basically free real estate, considering what else they have to do.
I mean, when you can start with 4 of the 5 tiles checked before the seed even, like, before you even make an input, other than selecting your party, it's probably a pretty good row.
Yeah, and you know, looking back at the other rows, really the only other one that's nearly as free is column 1. And that still requires you to do stuff, but it's stuff that isn't time-consuming.
Row 4 isn't terrible. Like, you just have to go to Marsh. Because defeat Warmech, you can just do that when you throw the Massa into space.
Yeah.
Right? So row 4 is also another possibility if you really, really, really want to use Warp and caster items. But...
Well, they can't use caster items. That was forced.
Oh, right, yeah. So it's, like, only for Warp, essentially. Because Bats and Earth Cave, pretty free. Equip no swords. Ha! Black belts laugh in the face of the swords.
Yeah. Yeah, now, so one thing we were talking about before, like, the race started was how column 5 is kind of a trap column for forcing. Because you look at it first glance, it's like defeat Warmech and throw the Mazza? Alright. But then you stop and realize the main problem with Warmech is getting to Warmech. So at that point, it's basically giving your opponent 2 tiles once they have the Mazza.
Exactly. I 100% agree. You have to not only think about tiles in isolation, how much of a pain they are, but also how they combine and synergize or anti-synergize with other tiles, right, that you're forcing your opponent to take.
Yeah. So we did get the key from the adamant.
So our runners are a chime and a cube away from go mode at this point.
And a Mazza.
And a Mazza, right. I forgot the Mazza's incentivized, yes. Chime, cube, Mazza. They have the key. Oh, that's a nice sword. Guess they can't use it, but Vorpal +5.
The one time the Vorpal's actually a good sword.
The bottle is an interesting item. It is going to increase the probability that the floater will be required. Because remember, if the chime, the cube, or the Massa are locked behind the bottle or the slab turn-ins, the floater will be required.
Yeah. Now, we do have, I believe you mentioned earlier, chat, we do have a number of overworld map edits available. So, the ship can get you everywhere except Lefane and Gaia.
Yes, that is correct. Greggly Puff saying, I saw fighters on Darkmoon screen earlier. Why didn't he grind there? Looks like they were on the Agma tile. Yes, the fighters, I think they were actually the red D tile, but they might have been the Agma tile. But the zombie Ds on Volcano, like on the armory
floor, yeah,
may just be better. I think the fighters you definitely could have made an argument, but like Darkmoon wanted to reset out of the item there, so he wasn't grinding at that point anyways. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see a Northwest Castle check for grind tiles as well before the runners, for example, Darkmoon might stop at Northwest Castle to check the grinds.
Yeah, I mean, I could see Darkmoon just going, alright, you know what? I've already got this hit bonus on my black belt. I can just do the zombie Ds, and that's good enough. Because those zombie Ds didn't look like they had much in the way of health, and didn't look like they were doing too much in terms of abilities or damage. So,
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, so it's one of those things you can... It's an easily accessible grind tile. It's located... It's the zombie Ds are the fire elemental tile, so they have access to one that they don't advance the encounter table
Correct.
stepping on and off of.
Mhm.
So...
And just to clarify, the reason for that is because they're stepping on the off step, the one that's not the tile, is in front of a wall, and the indoor rooms, the wall tiles, the ones on top of them, are free steps. So that is why it's what we call a free tile, and therefore he's not going to get any other encounters except for exclusively that zombie D tile, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean that's the reason that the Agma tile is one that, you know, Greggly Puff is calling out. Is the Agma tile has a similar you're not getting random encounters thing, because those two Agma tiles right before carry floor, you can just step between them and you're never going to get anything but whatever encounter is on those two tiles.
Earth, also well known for the Hall of Giants. The other nice thing about Volcano is that you can use Volcano, the Volcano tiles, in order to dan off or kill off a character to distribute your EXP onto your Black Bolt a little bit faster than if, the enemies you're fighting do no damage. Now, with a zombie D, not nearly a problem. The zombie Ds will kill you dead pretty quick. But if you're fighting like an Eye or something that's too weak to punch down your, moderately leveled mages, that can be another benefit of grinding in Volcano as well.
And speaking of Lefane from earlier, we have a slab here in Ordeals. So...
increasing the odds that the floater is required, but also increasing the odds that the floater is just going to be sitting in Volcano for us. Or sorry, Waterfall for us.
And also, speaking of good grind tiles...
Oh boy.
So, SirLinkalot's about to spend the rest of his magic, if I'm not crazy. Because those are some fragile Agama and red giants right there, too.
Yeah, the problem with this tile is sometimes that the red giants have too much HP, but that is not the case here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're still going to hit like a truck, but... they're going to be dead before they can do it twice.
Yeah, this is some good levels.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Darkmoon make the exact same play when he sees that tile and sees how fragile it is, of just, let's go ahead, burn up my remaining spells, exit out of here, save, and then onward to on-rack.
Now, this does have the issue of not having that free tile that we were talking about, so there isn't a possibility to get an off-step encounter. But it's, we haven't seen anything too dangerous in here, which is good.
Yeah.
Will Sir-Linkalot... Nope, I was just about to ask, is he going to dan off his party members, or kill off 2 of his party members to solo grind the black belt? But it looks like that's not the case, and I agree with that.
Yeah,
he can always do the zombie D whenever he wants to get his black belt to 32, or whatever,
yeah,
right?
No, that deep into a dungeon that has that whole maze thing going on. And with how hard we can see those giants are punching for, it's not worth finding out that the Agamas have something nasty like on their second or third turn.
Now, speaking of interesting, bingo metagaming, these runners are not going to really be clicking another thing on this board until they throw the masa into space. And then they're both going to know exactly where the other person is. Because with the early key and the early loot, when they throw the masa into space, they're in go mode. So you basically know when the opponent is entering the Temple Fiends Revisited, because it's going to be about a minute after they throw masa into space, unless they haven't done their grind yet.
Yeah, and you cannot bet on that at all.
Yeah, no.
So we have the ruby available at the caravan.
The ruby, a particularly nice item. It opens up 2 incentive locations if you don't have the floater, as both Titan's Trove and Sarda are going to have an item for us. So that's a very high chance of getting the floater right there, but it looks like SirLinkalot, I kind of agree with this. He's going to go do Waterfall while he's here anyways.
Yeah. I imagine he'll also at least dip into C to check the chest there.
Sea Shrine's not incentivized.
Is it not?
No, that's the only dungeon that's not incentivized.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think Sea Shrine's just a straight skip.
Yeah, if it's not incentivized, you skip it. Absolutely. Yeah, for some reason I was like, I knew that the others were. I guess I
Yeah,
thought
no.
it was Sky that wasn't incentivized rather than C, but
Yeah, no, it is C here, but Sky is another one that they usually want to avoid, but of course in this scenario, if they can get to the Sky incentive, it's either is the Masa or they're in go mode already, so, you know.
yeah.
Now, we've been talking a bit about an incentive Masa, and the reason for that is because of the throw Masa to space, but we also have random treasure, so the reason the Masa is incentivized is because there's no guarantee that a Masa would be in the seed unless it's incentivized, so that is why they will be finding, you know, the best sword in the game in one of the boxes, only to immediately throw it out of a window.
Now, see, what would have been really mean with this flag says instead of incentivizing Maza, you just guaranteed in-game Maza.
Oh, goodness. Or how about vanilla Masa, like send Masa home, where it's on the Tia floor, so you have to full clear Temple of Fiends Revisited up until then, and then exit out, go back to Sky.
Yeah, which in turn... Oh, man, that would have been rude with this card. Because then you couldn't have done row 2.
Yeah. There is additional rules about like if a row or a column is incompletable, because there's two things that just, you know, directly compete, and that can happen.
Well, no. But the thing is a forced that forced diagonal isn't impossible. You just can't do row 2 or column 3 because you have to use warp to get that Maza out.
That would be so mean. You're right. Incredibly rude. Looks like we have our next weekly Chanigan. Bringing pain.
See, so Chanigan, this is the reason no one lets me near any of the asynchronous seeds. Because I'm a monster.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just kind of the devil.
I'm gonna give you that one. If you send Masa home and force people to throw Masa out the Sky window, it's pretty mean. Now, let's see. Darkmoon also has a decision to make. How long is he going to sit on these Agamas? It would not surprise me if Darkmoon decides to do a full grind here, and that's going to be a very important decision. So, you know, keep your eyes peeled, not necessarily to him burning his spell charges, but if he decides to go further.
Yeah. So Darkmoon also has the advantage. Yeah, he has experience on there already. I think those grinds are what put SirLinkalot kind of on equal footing with Darkmoon in terms of experience again.
Mm-hmm.
So he has less of a need.
Now, question for SirLinkalot here. Is he happy with the grind tiles that he's found, or is he going to go take, 30 seconds to go check the grind tiles that are in Northwest Castle?
I feel like you check these, just because you also... There's also these 3 chests here. If you happen to, dig a ribbon out,
Mm-hmm. I agree. The thing is, these are also free grind tiles. Like, there's no off-step encounters or anything like that, so... nothing.
Yeah. That is the garbage to end all garbage.
Mm-hmm.
So, probably we're going to see... Where did he park his... Well, we'll probably see Matoya, then Ruby, I think.
I would look at the other turn-ins that are left. So there's TNT. Yep, looks like you're right. I might have done Ruby first, but it could go either way. It depends on, is the TNT somewhere in the turn-in chain? Because if it is, then going back and forth can be annoying.
Well, okay. So, the advantage of doing Matoya first is it's closer. If it's the floater, you can just go do the floater, and then, the Ruby checks are quick and easy. And like you said, if it's a TNT, then you can hit that on the way. You can also raid the treasury on your way. And, well, there we go.
Yeah, this is the perfect scenario for doing Matoya first, because now you can hit the TNT on the way out, and you're in great shape.
Yeah. Now, jumping back a little bit ago to where you said neither runner is going to click another tile until they hit endgame. I could see a scenario where someone might light up tiles if they notice they've done that, if only to get in their opponent's head. Like, get them thinking, oh, they're here, or oh, they're there. Basically kind of distract them a little bit.
Nice. That's a nice little mental meta game there. Yeah, like kill 3 different Sahags or something like that. Ooh, are they, wherever. It'll be interesting to see. Okay, there's the floater too. So the TNT turn-in, definitely the way to go. This is going to save a little bit of time over turning in the ruby first.
Yeah, SirLinkalot not even bothering to look in the treasury. I don't think he hit the treasury already, so...
No, I think he's got his ribbon from the free ribbon. And, like, what else do you need? You got a ribbon, you got a black belt. Life's good.
Yeah.
And we're sailing over to the dock.
Yeah, we're sailing away.
So SirLinkalot about to be our first runner in the air at around the 48-minute mark here. Now, I want to point out that Darkmoon and SirLinkalot were fairly close leaving the inner sea, but SirLinkalot's gained a little tiny bit of an edge, just I think on execution mostly, and also taking a few less fights. So we'll have to see if that pays off.
I think one of the big things that cost Darkmoon time, I didn't see what happened if he took a wipe or if he accidentally reset in whatchamacallit, ordeals, but he had to restart from Melmond to sail to ordeals.
Ooh, okay, yeah, that's definitely rough. I think someone said trolls somewhere. Yeah, those trolls are nasty, so maybe they had something gross.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it also could have been that he got sent back to the beginning, thought he had planted a tent, reset, and then realized after the fact, oh.
This is interesting. I hope SirLinkalot... I'm just double checking to make sure. Yeah, okay,
yeah,
so...
Titans is incentivized.
Yeah. This is a little bit unusual.
Yeah, I was noticing that too. I mean, it's one of those things, it's a quick check. He may be thinking just, if it's one of the longer term checks
but the
that I have
so
access
slow.
to. Yeah, well, okay. Here is what I imagine his reasoning might be. Darkmoon is probably going to check Titans before Lefang. As far as he knows, Darkmoon is hot on his heels. If he's thinking, okay, if I make the gamble to Lefang and it pays off, Darkmoon's not checking Lefang immediately. And that will give me enough of an edge. Because he still has those ice cave wipes in the back of his head, probably. Where he knows that he got to Earth Cave before Darkmoon, but he also knows that Darkmoon probably did take one of those grinds that was available in Volcano. Just because... Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I think it's possible that he might be, like, doing that kind of metagaming. I think it's also possible he might just have the spring tournament flags in his head, which have no Titans Trove incentivized, and he's just blanking. Because at this point, he's guaranteed to actually require... Like, he has to get the item that's in Titans Trove, because it's either the Chime or the Cube.
Look, here's my feeling on the matter. I like to assume that everyone is a genius who's constantly outwitting each other.
That's a better way of going through it. But DVS and I, who both are his teammates in the spring tournament, are like, we're both betting on oops.
Well, either way, that is the Chime in Titans, so...
Yep. So the
Where does
Maza...
Where does that leave the Maza?
In Sky.
Okay. So yeah, as soon as Darkmoon gets that cube from Lefang, he is going to know, okay, I just need to go straight over to Mirage Tower. If he's been taking good notes. Big if, but...
Well, he's got to go get the floater still, too, because he hasn't done the crown to crystal to floater turn in yet.
Yeah, but that's the only option he really has left.
Yes, correct.
So, he's going to probably be slightly annoyed that he went, the long way to do this, but... When he finds out that he remembered an incentive location that his opponent may have forgotten, he'll probably feel better about it. But SirLinkalot heading back to the southern continent, he may have remembered Titans.
Yes, I think, yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Okay. So yeah, he may have done what I was talking about of just going, I can check Titans really fast, so I can save this for later if I have to come here, and if I don't have to come here, that's time I'm saving.
Mm-hmm. Good thing for him too is that Darkmoon's not going to be able to skip the Fane because it is the cube. Like if it was the bottle was the cube, that could have been a little bit of a time loss for SirLinkalot because Darkmoon would just be like, nope, never going to Lefane.
Yep.
And it's grind time.
Yep. So yeah, SirLinkalot is going to get his party to where he is satisfied. He is going to go to Sky, get that Maza, take it one floor up, toss it away, and then he is going to... Okay, here's a question for you. Is it faster to go kill Tiamat at that point, or
yes,
to walk
definitely.
back down?
No, you go kill Tiamat. It's faster to exit, but because our runners chose the inconvenience row, they will be they will be killing Tiamat almost certainly. That's also why SirLinkalot's doing his grind now to make sure that that Tiamat fight is free.
So what you're saying is I should feel bad if I decide if I cackle like an idiot if Tiamat, like, you know, low percent roll kills him, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So if you're SirLinkalot, how high do we go here? I'm just checking our tracker tonight's Shadow's notes. I do not see. Okay, fast was level 5 in slot 2.
So that is learnable by both parties.
Yes. But it is Red Wizard only. That's what I thought. So likely no fast. I anticipate, depending on how much EXP he's getting here, but it's probably going to be that like grind to 37.
Yeah. Well, okay, here's the thing though about that fast access. He's got to go back down to the incentive chest. Because I don't think he walked that tail out, or did he?
He did, but there's like, I don't think he's going to I don't think he's going to promote for fast. He might, but I don't think he will. Whoa, is he done?
I think he wants to get that... He...
Oh, maybe...
No? I have no idea what he's doing. Oh! Oh, he's going to do a walking grind on that black belt in Sky.
This is...
This is a risky play, but I like it. Oh,
he
might be T-Rex hunting.
Yeah, he might know where the sandworms are. Like he might have found these sandwiches earlier. I guess he thought the zombie Ds might be a little bit scary, so he's taking these sandworms instead.
I don't hate it.
No, overworld grinds have a downside of taking extra time to use the tent every time. However, they have the upside of that you can't lose your grind. You can lose one fight at most, which is not risky at all. So this makes sense. I have to assume he found these sandworms in advance, though.
Yeah, I think like the path to ordeals, like that desert area, shares the encounter table with
Gaia.
Either that, or he just was like, I'll feel around and see what I can see, found the sandworms, was like, okay, I'm done. This is good enough.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, this is more than good enough. I think with the super fast encounter off the power cycle too, he was just thinking, "Ooh, sandworms, come here, sandwiches."
Yeah.
Now,
I mean, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I don't know if SirLinkalot is in the same boat as me, where I didn't think hit percentage affected the black belt's break points, and if it did, if he knows that it's 37 for his extra hit, or extra 2 hits. So I'm curious to see if he goes to 37 here, or if he goes to 42. He might just go to 37 and notice he's hitting more times than just piece.
That's what I was gonna say, is he may notice that he's already at 10 hits if he goes to when he hits 37. And at that point go, oh, okay.
Yeah. These sandworms are evasive though, because he was only getting like 5 or 6 hits at level, in his early 30s. So he might not actually get that magical, 9 or 10 hit, and then he might not realize it. We'll see though. SirLinkalot's a very knowledgeable player, so he might just know it already. Yeah. And he's also been playing a lot more with these like blessing cursed classes than I have.
Ba-dum. While we're kind of watching Darkmoon sort of get into that go mode ready position, and SirLinkalot get his grind in, I'm gonna go just double check and make sure that the hit percent thing it does matter.
So yeah, as we kind of wait, as you said, my name is Jet. I'm joined here in the booth by Wout this afternoon, and you're watching the Final Fantasy Randomizer Double Anti-Bingo Tournament. In this game, the goal is to complete 2 roles, one assigned by your opponent and one that you get to pick, as well as get the key, the loot, and then go and defeat Chaos in the Temple of Fiends Revisited. Notably, you have all your orbs already, so no fiend killing required unless one of the squares requires it, which in this case it does not. I think we're going to see Tia die anyways, as we have to throw Masa into space, which is the 3rd floor window, and the fastest way out is up rather than down. So we will see one fiend kill, but we're expecting to see both runners in the Temple of Fiends Revisited very soon here.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, Black Belt does follow the same rules as everyone else. It's just he only uses his fists.
I see.
So yeah, SirLinkalot will be seeing that breakpoint at 37. But it looks like he's already gone to 40.
Yeah, the other upside of going a little bit higher is also MDef. At 40, you have roughly the magic defense that makes you have a virtual ribbon except against like elemental spells. And Brack at 40. So getting a little bit higher is also going to make sure that you have that extra MDef to dodge some more of those insta-kill spells like Zap or Bane.
Yeah.
Also, 2 damage per level is nothing to sneeze at either.
Tragically, we have missed the opportunity to see a black belt that has 12 hits.
Ooh, this is going to be really interesting. Darkmoon, no grind, beelines into Sky, and he's going to light throw Masa into space before SirLinkalot. Oh, if I'm SirLinkalot, I'm getting nervous. Very nervous.
So Darkmoon now knows that SirLinkalot has a level 40 black belt, which I imagine that influenced his decision here. Because he sees because SirLinkalot lit that tile up. And
SirLinkalot knows Darkmoon doesn't have a level 40 black belt, but is going to be in Sky anyways. Okay, but yeah, no, SirLinkalot's got those 2 encounters that Darkmoon just was stuck on, so wow.
Yeah, the difference is that both of those encounters didn't have much that you needed to deal with.
But Darkmoon also is taking the fights in Sky. Meanwhile, SirLinkalot is not.
The walking Sky grind is one I like, and because of these lower breakpoints, Darkmoon doesn't necessarily need... Because yeah, his black belt's almost to that level 32 hit percent.
He also has access to fast. That's critical, right? So he has fast, so although his black belt isn't going to be doing as much damage, it's actually going to have more hits than SirLinkalot's.
Yep. So SirLinkalot is going to be the first runner to get that Maza, but Darkmoon is gonna be right there. And yeah. Darkmoon, Darkmoon, where are you going? That's not the window, Darkmoon.
He also threw the Vorpal out of space. And SirLinkalot's decided that walking out is going to be faster than killing Tia.
Darkmoon! Darkmoon!
What's he doing? Oh, he wants to kill Warmech. I don't actually know what Darkmoon is trying to do. I guess that's his definition of the window?
That's not the window!
I think we'll probably likely give him a pass on that one. There was definitely a best effort for throwing the Masa out the window. I think he just wasn't sure what the window entailed. He's on Sky 3. He's got the Masa. He threw the Masa. It fell a sufficient distance. We will also have to add to our list of things to bug Darkmoon about. He doesn't know where the Sky 3 window is.
Yeah? I'm gonna go double check just to make sure, like, what the rule is on that.
So yeah, SirLinkalot, seeing that Darkmoon lights that throw mass into space, knows that he's got a level advantage, but doesn't necessarily have a time advantage here. And I don't think Darkmoon has the time to be able to go and level his black belt. I think he just has to go, or else he's just going to lose to what he knows is a very powerful party on SirLinkalot's side. The adversary saying, I love these single bingo card items. I kind of want a card like this for myself. You can absolutely go and roll one yourself. If you want some more information, feel free to join us on the Final Fantasy Randomizer Discord, and we can hook you up with some info.
Which I believe you should already be there, adversary, or if you're not, you know where to find us.
So SirLinkalot, our first runner into the Temple of Fiends Revisited. I'm going to check if our tracker has the timestamp on that. But he's about 2.5 minutes, it looks like, ahead of Darkmoon. Maybe more if Darkmoon takes some additional time to do other things.
Yeah.
Oh, but SirLinkalot, resetting out, that was not a nice pack.
Yeah, Darkmoon going back for some black magic. Grabbing Temper, yeah, okay.
Going in with the lower level black belt, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he's already picked up fast.
I have to assume he already picked up fast. So, this is again a factor that may come into play. Darkmoon taking the time to prepare before going in.
Yes.
Alright, so D. Jones asking, what are the rules surrounding the cards in fighting Chaos? So, you do have to defeat Chaos, and you have to complete 2 lines, one of which was forced by your opponent. So, standard double anti-bingo if you're familiar. But yeah, unlike most other games, the community decided basically that they wanted to also have the actual end of the game. So in this case, the rule is you have to have both of your lines done before you kill Chaos in order to be able to done. Now, you can go into the Temple of Fiends before then. So for example, if you were forced to kill 3 different kinds of dragons, you do have the option of just saying, you know what, I'm just going to go dragon hunt in Temple of Fiends. That's faster and easier than any of my other alternatives. But yeah, otherwise, the only rule is you have to complete 2 lines, and you have to kill Chaos, and you have to do it in that order.
Yes. And also, if you, for example, take 0 or 3 fighters with Tavern mode, you could switch those fighters out during the seed, but you must have 0 or 3 when the seed starts, and you must have 0 or 3 when you defeat Chaos. So that's how, like, the Force classes work, for example.
Yeah. So both of these runners could have opted to change one of their white mages out for, like, a thief or something, and then just changed back before going into Temple of Fiends.
Correct.
But why would you do that? You now have a white mage who has no spells.
Correct. And the white mage is very powerful in the seed, with level 2, 3, and 4 magic all being excellent. SirLinkalot, unsurprisingly, with that level 40 black belt, already through carry. So Darkmoon taking his grind, but he just does not have time for this right now. He's got to get going, or else SirLinkalot's just going to fly through the rest of the seed.
Yeah. Like, the only thing I can imagine Darkmoon is thinking at this point is, you know, if there's something that SirLinkalot's other characters don't have the experience to deal with, you know, that's my out.
Right.
Because he is still leveling, like, most of his party. Whereas he may be thinking SirLinkalot got that 40 by just solo black belt stretch, which he pretty much did do.
Yeah, a nuke could be very dangerous for him here with no caster items, because his white mages do have less than 400 HP.
Yeah, so that might be Darkmoon thinking just, you know, I'm already behind, so let's go for the assumption that my opponent is going to hit something nasty, and me taking the time now to make my party more robust is going to be what carries the day. But With Kraken 2 already dead, it's looking very unlikely that Darkmoon is going to get that salvation.
Black belts are kind of incredibly powerful once you get to this stage of the seed.
Yeah. And yeah, that wall doing work already.
Now, turn order nuke here could make this slightly sketchy, but yeah, punch is not going to cut it because this black belt's going to take out Tiamat with that swing. Ooh, it doesn't. One more turn. Okay.
Okay. Does that red mage have life for life too?
Yes, it does. So, not an issue. It really needed to be non-elemental AoEs in order to like risk SirLinkalot's party to any great extent.
Yeah.
This Chaos is going to die in 4 swings, at most. Unless it's very evasive.
Mm-hmm. So, let's see here. Wall goes up immediately. First punch, 10 hits for 1,000. Yeah, okay, this Chaos is not long for this world. Like, yeah, Darkmoon needed Chaos to be evasive or just fire off a nuke immediately, and then follow it up with a second nuke.
Correct. And this Chaos has no HP. And GG's to our first place runner, SirLinkalot, finishing with an official time of 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 53 seconds. Definitely a well-deserved win by SirLinkalot.
Alright, we're going to see if he'll hop into the booth with us. But while we're waiting, Darkmoon, now aware that he has lost, we're going to see what he's going to do with this black belt. Will he give us the, you know what, I want to see this black belt hit for 12 hits naturally.
Yeah, we will see, but I'm assuming this black belt is going to be punching some things very hard very soon. And we are joined in the booth by our first place runner, SirLinkalot. GG's.
Yeah, GG, SirLinkalot. So, was there any question in your mind which row you were going to force on your opponent? Okay, we can't hear SirLinkalot yet, so...
He did mention in the pregame chat that he was also considering row 5, which I think is reasonable here.
Yeah.
Anything that kind of forces your opponent to take parties that are good with black belts, though, kind of is difficult. Like, you know, Garland Boxing, take one none. Those are just kind of screaming more black belts. And Fire Elemental is one of the most common skills and spells to find. So I think the diagonal makes a lot of sense here.
But yeah, Linkalot, if you can hear us, we cannot hear you at the moment. Okay, now we can see your thing lighting up, but we still can't hear you.
Mm-hmm. Now you should be able to.
There we go. Yeah, so, so I think chat answered that question for you.
I didn't actually hear all of it. I had to change like 3 settings to get it coming through my headset, as well as then I had to unmute the mic as well.
Okay. Yeah, so basically just just kind of your thought process when you were selecting your opponent's line. Just was what kind of put you on the path to that diagonal in particular?
The biggest thing was when I was looking at the board, like what is the hardest square on there? What has like the most requirements? And that was immediately throw Moss Immune into space. You have to get cube, chime, and you have to find the mosses. So there's 3 incentive items you have to get to, plus, you know, floater, ship. You have to have a way to get there as well. Mm-hmm. So that's why I was immediately looking at like the diagonal as well as row 5. And it was like, okay, kill 3 different dragons isn't that bad. You just go into Topher. It was mostly like the take one none. It's like you're just gonna bring a black belt. It's like the best thing to do is just kind of we both wanted to wait on to see what the blurses was, because it's like if white mages roll bad, it's like I'm gonna do the diagonal, because it's like take 2 white mages. It's like, yeah, you'll down one off and it's pretty much no different as a none. But if you do the take one none, you've got full, you know, you can use whatever you want for those 3 compared to, okay, you basically have to 2-man party if the white mage rolls bad.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that all makes sense.
Yeah, and we noticed that you settled in for the 2-man strat, and then you saw white magic at level 2, and were just and 3, and just decided, never mind.
Yeah, when I saw it's like, okay, I've got Cure 4. It's like I might keep a White Mage up to get some levels to where it can survive something in Topher's. That way, if something terrible happens, because my Black Belt isn't going to have as much HP as normal because of the minus Vitality.
Hmm.
I was like, yeah, I'll keep one, and then yeah, I saw the level 3. I'm like, okay. I was ready to do the 2-man grind, but I saw like Fade, Life, Wall. I'm like, nope, I'll bring a White Mage up because Cast of Fade or Cast of Fade.
Hmm.
And yeah, so I guess another question that we were kind of wondering about: did you do the math on the black belt's hit percent to realize where your breakpoints were?
I did. I more took it mostly one magic resistance as well
Yep.
as health up a little bit more because
Yep.
well, Kraken was hitting as hard as Kraken was. I don't think it would have one shot the black belt, but it would have gotten really close. Especially if I would have left it, with like I want to say it was like 38 or 39. I like just kind of closed it when I'm like, okay, this is my math. I'm done with it. This is what I need to get to for like the 10 hits. And I even debated just taking it to where I hit the 8 hit break point. And instead of grinding it, if I didn't have a really good grind, fast was available, and I already had the tail, was to go promote, grab fast on the red wizard, and then just go in with fast.
All right.
Was there so with the we did have a question about the ruby. Did you just forget Titans was incentivized because of the spring tournament flags, or was that a deliberate play?
Nope, that was a complete forget because it's like I'm doing spring tournament where it's not there, and it's like
Yeah.
I'm looking, I'm like, wait a second, my locations are not adding up because the chime can't be in Mirage, and it's like I had the flags and I scrolled down, like, okay, what's incentivized that I missed, and I'm like, Titans Tunnel I didn't check, and I looked at the checkbox, I'm like, oh, well, there's my chime. Let's go grab that, and I'm Masa sitting on Sky 2 right before I have to throw it away.
Okay, fine, Jat. You were right. See, I was sitting
Well,
here over here just like walking through this incredibly meta play where you were like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and make the Lefane play because, Darkmoon's not going to go for the Lefane play first, so if it turns out to be the case, then I can skip out on Titans and blah, 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 blah.
DVS and I were like, he forgot.
Yeah, like when I was already going up there, I was like looking at my location. I'm like, okay, it's like Fairy and Lefane have to be Chime and Cube, and Masa has to be inside Sky. So I'm just like, this is easy. Go do this, go do that, turn that in, and it's like, as soon as I saw what was on the Fairy, I'm like, I missed something, or I forgot something. That's when I already had the flags. Like, let's go check incentive location. Like, yep, Titan Tunnel. Okay, let's do Lefane, go grab that, and then come back as like and it's like, I'm in the area, I'll do the zombie dragons, because I thought it was only going to be the 2, but then they kept doing the 4. I'm like, that's not going to work with how hard they're hitting and how much health they had.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I was like, I'll check the desert, see if something good's there, and
so
then
you
saw
didn't,
the sandwich station.
You didn't know the sandwiches were there, but there was a high likelihood, especially with the encounter table being like so friendly for an overworld grind, that you just like were willing to play the odds looking for even like a steak and wings, right?
Yeah, because there was 4 encounter zones there. I already knew just kind of off Lefane that I might have to walk a little bit, but there were like 2, I think it was like 3 back-to-back Tyro fights if you walk far enough over at Lefane. So worst case, I was even thinking about doing it over there and just walking, because like the zombie dragons were good, but like unless I'm one-shotting those zombie dragons, that was a dangerous grinde.
Yeah.
So,
oh, go ahead. Whoa.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So, the other question I've kind of had. So, you have those early struggles getting through Ice Cave. You finally get your ship. You get moving. You light up that Earth tile before Darkmoon does. What at that point are you thinking has been going on the other side of the match? Are you thinking Darkmoon had similar issues in Ice? Are you thinking he maybe took that Zombie D fight early on to pick up some early levels before he went and cleared Ice? What were kind of the scenarios you were running through in your head of, after all that trouble I had in Ice, how am I ahead of Darkmoon?
I mean, the big thing was, and it was kind of funny because like the first time I went there, just like to try to do the cheeky ice play, maybe I can get in and get out at my levels with the charges I had, until I met the zombie dragon, Wiz vampire with just a white mage, because the Sahagins and Green decided, I'm going to kill your red mage that has the plus 15 luck that's going to get you away from basically everything in the game. So it's like, okay, and then I knew the run was there to kind of get there without the encounters, but yeah, it's like Toxic was tearing me up. I kind of felt with like the encounters that were in the way on Ice Cave that Darkmoon was just going to kind of have to beat his head against it too, because we probably both lost location in the ship there.
No, actually. Darkmoon hit ice before... Did he even go to Volcano before ice? Or did he... Yeah, he made the cheeky ice play, and he... The big difference, Darkmoon kept all 4 of his characters up and moving, so he had the extra actions to get the good turn order he needed to get through everything.
He also had life too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have helped too, because I was like broke in Elfland. I was like,
Yeah.
What spell is most important? Fade.
You chose right.
Let
but
me get enough for Fade. That's all I care about right now. And as soon as I wiped or took them, like, I really wish I had life 2 or life right now. Like,
So, okay, that actually does bring up another question. Was there ever a moment in your mind that you thought to yourself, I should just go back to Elfland, pick up one of the life spells, and make this ice dive easier? Or were you thinking, I have all the tools I need to get through this ice cave, this next dive will probably be it?
Yeah, knowing that there was a run to where I basically could get to the incentive box with, I think, 1 encounter, because the big encounter, I think, was the images that had the toxic that I was worried about, and I knew I could get around it because I'd already done it once.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I brought that second white mage up, was just that temporary, I'm going to have a meat shield, somebody that has another turn, it has like 1 charge of Fade, so it's just like when I get to like the Zombie Drake Wiz Vampire, because I didn't remember if it was unrunnable or not, I'm just like, I'm going to have charges of Nuke, charges of Fade.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. Darkmoon just one-shot chaos.
Well, not quite, but did a lot of damage. But to kind of... Sorry, we'll get Darkmoon in here, but yeah, your logic makes sense. I was really thinking, SirLinkalot, that fight may have been the make or break point for you, though. If you got a couple bad turn orders against the Gersharks, Whiz-Vamps, and the Gersharks, Whiz-Hags, and the Whiz-Vamps Zombie Ds, if they were not playing nice, that could have been nasty. But you did get through, and that was, I think, the critical turning point for you.
All right, Darkmoon, GG's.
He is.
I am going to wait.
Hey, there we go.
There we go.
I didn't realize I was muted. Sorry, guys.
Okay, so Darkmoon, quick question.
Uh-huh.
How do you not know where the window is on Sky 3?
I've never had to do anything with it before, so my brain did not see it there. So I walked further down the hallway, checked both rooms, realized, the window's not here. Screw it, I'm on the 3rd floor. I'll just throw it off into space that way. And then when I walked past, I'm back at afterwards. I'm like, oh, there's the window. Oh, I walked farther. I feel like I accomplished that.
Yeah, that was Jat's reasoning.
I was giving you a participation trophy for that.
See?
I mean, I'm sure the DAB committee could argue, but I was like, you got all the items you needed. You were on Sky 3. You took bonus steps.
I did, exactly. I mean, if I'd been on the committee and someone else did that, I would have been going, they walked past it. I mean, it's fine. They were there.
So Darkmoon.
Yes.
Where does the ship spawn when you get the ship from Ice Cave?
I have never had it come in there before, so I'm sitting there going, I past a certain point, I know it's supposed to be at Elf Cave, or Elfland. I always say Elf Cave. At Elfland, and I'm like, it's not at Elfland. Why is it not at Elfland? Where did the ship go?
Yeah, so I had your back on that, Darkmoon. I made the point that you very rarely see the ship in Ice Cave. Most of the time, it's at Elfland. Most of the southern continent defaults to Elfland.
Yep.
So I had your back on that one.
Yeah, it's the way the thing is supposed to be programmed, but since it wasn't there, and it felt like it was far enough south, it wouldn't be at Provoca. I just was like, I can get over to where the dock is at Crescent Lake within like a cabin step, basically, because counter table was. So I was just like, well, I'm here. Let's just go quickly do that, see if it's there. If it's not there, then I'm not going to worry about it. So,
all right.
Yeah.
So, okay, I went ahead and asked Linkalot about this, so it's your turn. So, when picking your opponent's line, what pushed you toward that diagonal over all of the other options?
Exit is useful. Caster items are useful. The white mages didn't seem entirely useful, and I mean, if it hadn't been for that fade, that the magic would have been a little desperate there for a while. And then canoe from Elfland to Ice Cave is annoying, especially if you don't get the canoe till late. And just throw the Mazamoon is the one that really drew my attention, because that requires essentially 3 items to complete that quest, which can be a pain in the butt to get. I mean, you saw, I think Linkalot and I both had to basically full clear the game to find everything for it.
Well, you at
So.
least remembered that Titan's Trove was incentivized.
Yeah. Well, and that was nice because I had the ruby already there, I had the slab, and I had the crown that I got just by doing the southern sweep or northern sweep, whatever that continent is. So it was just like, okay, just go bang these out 1, 2, 3, and just go.
Yeah. So the big time difference there,
Mm-hmm.
Linkalot hit Matoya first, rather than like he did Astos into Matoya into Narek, whereas you went the opposite direction, and that gave him a pretty decent time advantage, even with forgetting Titans, because he just had that airship way sooner.
I mean, well, and I mean, there were a couple of other places where I got like a little dinked over on things or something else. And I'm sitting there going, well, that's a time loss to SirLinkalot, and when you're racing SirLinkalot, you don't want any time losses. You can like
you don't get many time losses.
So okay. So I asked him about this when he lit up the bat tile about a minute and a half before you did. What did you think kind of put you two on that equal footing? Like, where do you think? What do you think he had been doing with his time?
I was actually really happy about that. Let me be perfectly honest. Only being a minute and a half behind him, I'm like, wow, he should be done by now. But I assumed he kind of just took a few extra fights, or maybe he tried to walk the tail out when I was just like, no, and just reset out of it the second I had a thought about it. There were a few things, if you notice, where I did that, where I was just like, you know what, I don't want to take the time loss to walk this out. I'm just going to reset and move on because I need every advantage I can get.
So what happened? You got lucky going through Ice Cave. So you basically you went to Ice Cave first. You managed to get through it without too much difficulty, whereas Linkalot had a few bad rolls, mostly because he was still doing 3-man strats, and you that extra action from your second white mage gave you the extra turns you needed to get through those dangerous encounters.
Yeah, it wasn't strictly luck. It was you had an extra white mage and life, which made a big difference because you just went a little bit more methodically through the early game, so you were able to afford a little bit more because you were able to afford a little bit more, and you played it less like I'm going to 3-mana immediately. That paid off for you in Ice Cave, which was good.
The black belt is too weak. I mean, that was my reasoning. The black belt's just too weak. You need more levels under his belt before he's useful. And when you have level 2 Fade, I mean, I love 3-man strats, don't get me wrong, but that early in the game, there was just no way to. I was waiting until my white mage died naturally before I worried about it.
I mean, were you accounting for that plus 15% hit, though?
I didn't. But, I mean, when I was actually going into my final grind against the second pack of zombie Ds I was taking on, had he not done yet, I probably would have only gone to like 36, just because of the bonus hit and just chanced it. Because the bonus hit was great, but they had a knock to their vitality, which kind of, in my mind, balanced them out. But if I was close to SirLinkalot, I absolutely would have chanced it because you got to chance it.
Yeah. So you see SirLinkalot light up that level 40 square, which does that make you? Do you have a moment where you think, okay, do I just take this party and go and count on a paper Topher, or were like I figured that what you were doing was saying, okay, the only way I'm catching up at this point is if Linkalot, even with a level 40 black belt, bounces off of Topher.
Yeah.
Okay,
my thought was I hadn't done my final grind yet, but he hadn't lit the throw Mosmoon into space at that point, so I wasn't sure how deep he was going on his grind, what he was going to do. So my thought was, let's go finish out the Mosmoon quest, because I basically know all the location things are going to be at this point. Finish that out, see if he's lit the Mosmoon quest before I have, which unfortunately he did. That was, the one thing I was counting on was that he did. And then once that happens, I can keep an eye on that square while I go do my grind, and I'll know where he is in coordination to me, and I can kind of play it by ear from there. And I mean,
Hope he wipes,
Hope he wipes, yeah. Wipes on a grind, wipes in the tower, wipes in Topher, wipes on something. By the time that he lit that one and I hadn't done my final grind yet, I'm sitting there going, okay, now I just need a terrible Topher. And then, 2 minutes later, he got done. And I'm like, well, that didn't happen.
I mean, I did wipe slightly out of Topher because Badman did bad.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if you were watching, I hit that unrunnable gas key tile, and I'm sitting there going, I have another tile right behind this I'm going to have to hit as well because of the way the encounter table's set up. I'm like, no, I'm just going to reset and start over on that because it's not worth it.
Yeah, so yeah, the other thing, Linkalot, like that Tia 2 did at least possibly give you a moment of pause. I feel like.
I was more. I guess the biggest thing I was concerned about, like it was losing the red mage just because I couldn't pick anybody up, and then if it would be like a punch script chaos, something like that with the lower health because of the vitality, that's like, yeah, that could be kind of bad, but yeah, it was a little bit like, please just give me turn order and kill Tiamat because you've taken like almost 2,000 damage and you're not dead, so you rolled almost max on your HP.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, there's very few Temple Fiends revisited at this scaling that a 10 hit black belt won't cover.
Yeah,
Like it had to be
no.
like first turn nuke, high roll everyone on like Lich, and then maybe you don't make it through.
Well,
but like outside of that.
I was gonna say, there's playing the meta of the meta too, because I've watched enough of these at this point, and the flags are not going to change. These are locked for the entire tournament. So I've seen enough people go in with like a level 28 or a level 32 and bounce out because Topher decides to roll high. The scaling is just enough here where, like, especially with the low vitality black belt, you're like, I need the extra level. Yeah.
I think with that, we'll do you have anything else before we move into final thoughts here?
I was going. My next thing was going to be final thoughts.
Well, actually, I did have a question for Linkalot. Seeing me as close to you were on the bingo board, were you sweating at all at any point?
Not particularly, just because, like, if you go back and watch, I don't know how long I was actually in Ice Cave for. Like, it was a good chunk of time. So it's just like I was actually waiting for you to talk to 10 bats before I even had the ship. I'm like, yeah, it's like I know the ship has to be here, or it's either ship or it's. I think it had to be ship. I don't think it could be floating.
Well, and
So-
on the side,
Crystal,
did you
but
go
yeah,
do
ship
Volcano?
eventually.
I did do Volcano first.
Okay, yeah.
Because
I
I tried to do a cheeky ice play when I did my canoe right away. I'm like level 6 with 3 people. I'm like, let's just do it with the charges I have and see if it works. If it doesn't, I'll go to Volcano, check the incentive, check some grind tiles, and get some levels to make ice, a little bit safer depending on what happens. And that's kind of how I did it. That's why I didn't. That's the main reason I didn't reset out of Volcano is I got levels on the way down. I didn't want to lose the levels because that was like my safety through ice.
Okay, final thoughts we can do then.
Okay. Whichever one of you wants to go first, go for it.
You won, Link. Why don't you go?
I don't know. It was a lot of fun. The board was kind of like one of those. It was a really weird board because usually it's like there's just a bunch of like difficult rolls, and you just kind of like which roll's the worst roll. And this one was just kind of like I saw that die, and I'm like, that's probably the roll I'm picking unless White Mage rolls something really good.
Yep, that was my thought.
I'm just like, there were a couple other rolls where I was thinking, maybe, but like that was the first one. I'm like, that's probably what I'm doing. But no, it was a lot of fun, and for being a Danny seed, it didn't feel that terrible outside of ice.
Darkmoon, what about you?
It was interesting. I am actually quite happy that I was within 10 minutes of SirLinkalot, and that was, just being like, okay, I'll just go to 42 and not stress about the grind at that point, I took my time a little there at the end where I might have been rushing otherwise. So within, knowing the caliber of player I am, and knowing the caliber of player we have from one of our previous Duckling Supremes and co-op champions, being within 10 minutes on a seed like this and coming in, what were we, 118 for me? Having seen some of the games we had where we were 2 hours plus in this flag set, I'm perfectly happy with the time and the performance I put in. Link's a tough competitor, and that's just how it is. Going on a board against him and basically the two of us having the exact same layout, that gave the advantage to him. There was no chance of variance there. It was just how much faster can I do this than he does it? So I mean, end of the day, I'm happy with it, and I'm enjoying the tournament, and I may be in the losers bracket now, but still fun. I still got at least one more match out of me.
All right. Jet, do you want to give your thoughts, and then I'll plug our upcoming races and get us home?
Yeah, no, not much on my side. I think it was a good race, pretty solid bingo performance. I think it was, whenever there's a row that's basically lit up to begin with and needs no additional incentive items, it kind of makes it for quick second row selection. So that was definitely, this was very much a one row game, and I think you guys both showed that. So GG's to both runners. I'm looking forward to seeing you further in the bingo tournament. And thanks to Shadowed for tracking and J Shadell for restreaming. So I'll pass it over to you, Wout.
All right. Well, with the gratitude to our support team out of the way, first of all, thanks to Randomania for having us. And if this was not enough double anti-bingo action for you, we do have another race today at 9:30 p.m. Eastern over on RPG Limit Break. Luffy versus Zero Cool 512 will be happening. That'll be a fun one. And then tomorrow, on channels that have not been determined yet, so if you want to find out, come join the Discord. If you aren't already, we have a channel specifically for telling people when races are happening. But tomorrow we've got Lord Fizzlebeef versus J-Man at 1 p.m. Eastern, and Burt Reynolds versus the Hangry Canuck at 7 p.m. Eastern. And like I said, those will be somewhere with one of our broadcast partners, but you'll find out at some point. But other than that...
There's another race tomorrow, too.
Well, those are the only two that I have plugs for, so SirLinkalot, feel free to go ahead and tell us about it.
I'm racing again tomorrow against Gregglypuff at noon.
Okay, that's also a channel be determined. So, tomorrow's going to be a Final Fantasy Randomizer-rific day. Get your dabs on, everyone. So yeah, then that'll do it for us. Thank you, Darkmoon. Thank you, SirLinkalot. And if you are watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe over on Randomania's channel, because that's always helpful too. But that'll do it for us. So thank you, everyone. I'm sure we'll see some of y'all this evening over at the other race.